6:47 in the morning. The gate is open. Elena Vargas stands at the front entrance of an estate worth more than every dollar she has earned in her entire life combined. Her daughter Mila is asleep in her arms. 22 kilograms of warmth pressed against her chest. A stuffed rabbit with one missing ear clutched in the child's fist, held so tight that even in sleep, Mila will not let go. Elena has a backpack on one shoulder. Inside are 2 changes of clothes for Mila. One for herself. $86 in cash folded into the inside pocket. Everything she owns in the world fits in a bag that weighs less than her daughter. The gate is open, wide open. 2 guards stand at the posts on either side. Large men, armed. They do not move. They do not speak. They do not even look at her. Elena takes 1 step toward the gate. Her shoe touches the stone threshold between the property and the street. The morning air hits her face. Cold. January in Chicago, the kind of cold that bites into the skin and stays. Freedom is 1 step away, 1 single step. She can feel the pavement on the other side. She can see the street beyond the iron fence, the empty sidewalk, the gray sky pressing down on the rooftops. Then Mila stirs. Her small body shifts against Elena's chest. Her eyes stay closed, her lips move. And she says 1 word. Just one. Soft. Half asleep, like breathing. Daddy, not calling for someone behind them, not calling to the guards, calling for the man inside the house. The man whose bedroom is on the 2nd floor. The man whose light Elena saw still burning at 4 in the morning when she packed the bag. The man who Mila has called Daddy for 3 weeks now, even though Elena has asked her to stop, begged her to stop, and Mila keeps saying it anyway because to a 5-year-old girl who has never had a father, the word is not a name. It is a feeling. And the feeling is real. Elena stands at the gate for 47 seconds. The security camera in the corner has a timestamp. We know the exact count. 47 seconds of a woman standing between the world she came from and the world she is afraid she is trapped in, holding a child who does not want to leave. Then Elena turns around. She walks back up the stone path. She walks through the front door. She climbs the stairs to the guest house and sets Mila down on the clean white bed and sits on the floor with her back against the wall. The guards never moved. They did not need to. Roman Castellan never locked the gate. He never had to. Because he understood something about Elena that Elena was only beginning to understand about herself. She would not leave. Not because she could not. Because Mila would not let her. And Elena would never do anything that made Mila cry. That is a prison with no walls. And it is the most dangerous kind. Roman is watching from the 2nd floor window. Coffee in his right hand. He watched the entire thing. His face shows nothing. 42 years of running a criminal empire have taught him how to make his face show nothing. But his hand, the one holding the mug, is trembling, and he does not try to stop it. If this story has already gripped you, please press like so more people can hear it. Share it with someone who needs to believe that sometimes the walls around us are not what we think they are. And subscribe to the channel because stories like this deserve to be told. Now let me take you back to the beginning, to the night everything broke, 6 weeks earlier. Elena Vargas is working the overnight shift at a gas station on the south side of Chicago. It is 1:15 in the morning. January, the heater behind the counter has been broken for 2 weeks. The manager said he would send someone. He has not sent anyone. Elena is wearing 2 sweaters under the uniform vest, and she can still see her breath when she exhales. The fluorescent lights above the counter hum and flicker. The coffee machine in the corner is making a sound like something dying. Outside the glass doors, the parking lot is empty except for 1 car that has been sitting there since 11 with the engine off and the windows fogged. Elena does not look at it. She has learned not to look at things that sit still in the dark. She is 28 years old. She has been working 2 jobs for 3 years. The gas station overnight, 5 nights a week, and the diner on Ashland 4 mornings a week. She sleeps in the gaps between the 2, sometimes 3 hours, sometimes 2. Sometimes she sits on the bus between shifts and closes her eyes for 12 minutes and calls it rest. Her phone buzzes on the counter. She looks at the screen. Mrs. Padilla, the neighbor, 63 years old, the only person in the world Elena trusts with Mila while she works the night shift, Elena answers. Mrs. Padilla's voice is shaking. Not the gentle trembling of an old woman. The sharp shaking of someone who is afraid right now. In this moment, with the fear still happening. Elena, he is here. Danny is outside your door. He is kicking it. I can hear the wood cracking. I have Mila in my apartment, but Elena, He is screaming your name, and I do not know how long the chain on my door will hold. Elena's blood drops 10 degrees. She feels it happen. The cold that enters her chest is not the January kind. It is the kind that comes from the inside. The kind that has been living in her since the first time Danny put his hands on her, and she realized that love and danger can live in the same body. She calls 911. Estimated response time, 14 minutes. She lives 22 minutes away by bus. Elena does the math. She cannot make the numbers work. She has never been able to make the numbers work. She runs. She leaves the register open. She does not lock the door. She runs 9 blocks in the cold, her lungs burning, the 2 sweaters making her heavy, her shoes slapping the frozen pavement. She catches the last bus by 4 seconds. She stands in the aisle, gripping the pole, willing the bus to move faster, watching the dark streets slide past the window, counting blocks. By the time she arrives, Danny is gone. 2 police officers are standing in the hallway taking notes. One of them looks bored. The other looks at Elena with the expression she has seen on the faces of officials her entire life. The expression that says, "This is unfortunate, but ultimately not our problem." The apartment door is hanging off one hinge. The lock is destroyed. Inside, everything Elena built with almost nothing has been torn apart. The mattress is flipped. The dishes are shattered. The small kitchen table where Mila draws pictures is overturned. And Mila's drawings, the ones Elena taped to the refrigerator every week, houses and sons and families she has never had, are ripped off and scattered across the floor. Some are torn in half. The crayon colors smeared where someone stepped on them. Elena stands in the doorway and looks at the ruins of her life. She does not cry. She has not cried in front of anyone in 6 years. She learned that from the foster homes. Crying invites attention. Attention invites hands. Mrs. Padilla opens her door across the hall. Inside, on the couch, Mila sits holding a stuffed rabbit with one missing ear. The rabbit's name is Bean. Mila named him when she was 3. The stitching on Bean's neck is loose. Elena has repaired it 4 times with whatever thread she could find. The rabbit is held together by Elena's hands and nothing else. Mila is not crying. That is the part that breaks Elena, not the apartment, not the door, not Danny. Mila is 5 years old and she has already learned not to cry when the bad things happen. She has learned to sit still and hold Bean and wait for it to be over. She learned that from watching her mother. Elena packs 1 bag, 2 changes of clothes for Mila, 1 for herself. Bean the rabbit, $86 in cash from the jar on the top shelf that Danny did not find because Danny never looked up. He only looked at things he could reach and destroy. They leave at 2 in the morning. No car, no plan. Just a woman and a child walking into a Chicago January. They end up at a 24-hour laundromat on Halsted Street because the lights are on and it is warm inside. Mila falls asleep on the plastic chairs, Bean tucked under her chin, her small body curled tight, her breath fogging slightly in the humid air from the dryers. She looks peaceful. Children can sleep anywhere when they are exhausted enough. Elena has always envied that. Elena sits on the floor with her back against a dryer. The vibration is warm against her spine. The machine rumbles in a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. She counts the money again. $86. Rent is $975. Due in 4 days. But there is no apartment to pay rent on anymore. The door is broken. The lock is destroyed. Danny knows where they live. She does the math. She always does the math. And the math never works. She has been doing math that does not work since she was 17 and aged out of foster care with a garbage bag of clothes and $200 from the state and a social worker who shook her hand and said good luck like it meant something. She presses her thumbnail into the pad of her index finger, hard, until the pain gives her something to focus on besides the numbers. She has done this since she was 8 years old, a habit she picked up in the second foster home. When the world gets too big and she cannot hold it, she makes one small point of pain and puts everything there. It is not healthy, she knows that. But it works. It has always worked. The laundromat door opens. Cold air rushes in. A man walks in, alone, no one else. He is wearing a dark wool coat, well fitted. The kind that is expensive because it does not try to look expensive. He is carrying a paper bag from a diner. He looks like he has not slept in a long time, but not the way Elena has not slept. His exhaustion is the kind that comes from somewhere deeper than a missed shift. He does not look at Elena first. He looks at Mila, asleep on the chairs, bean under her chin, the backpack on the floor beside her, the way her dark curly hair falls across her cheek, the way her fingers grip the rabbit even in sleep. He studies the child the way a person studies something that hurts them to look at, not because it is ugly, because it is beautiful, and it reminds them of something they lost. Then he sits down, opposite row of chairs. He opens the paper bag and sets a container of soup and a bread roll on the seat next to Elena, not toward her. Next to her, close enough to reach, far enough to not feel like pressure. He does not push it. He does not gesture. He just sets it there the way someone sets an umbrella down near a stranger in the rain. The soup is hot. The roll is stale. But it is food. Elena does not touch it. I do not know you. No, he does not offer his name. But your daughter is shivering even in her sleep, and you have been pressing your thumbnail into your finger for the last 10 minutes, which means you are either in pain or trying not to fall apart. Either way, hot soup helps. Elena stares at him. She is looking for the thing she has learned to look for in men. The angle, the transaction, the price tag hidden in the kindness. She has been offered help before. It always costs something. She cannot find it. Not because it is not there. Maybe it is. But it is buried deep enough that she cannot see it, and right now she is too tired to dig. She takes the soup. She eats it. It is chicken noodle. It is not good. The noodles are soft and the broth is too salty. But it is the best thing she has tasted in months. Not because the soup is good. Because someone noticed she was hungry without her having to say it. He tells her his name is Roman. He says he owns property in the area. He says he noticed the laundromat lights on and stopped because he could not sleep. He does not explain why he could not sleep. Elena does not ask. They are strangers exchanging only the parts of themselves that the moment requires. Nothing more. He asks one question. His voice is low, not soft. Low. The voice of a man who is used to speaking and being heard without needing volume. Is someone looking for you tonight? Elena's silence fills the laundromat like the hum of the dryers. It is louder than any answer she could give. Roman pulls a card from his coat pocket. A simple card. An address. A gate code. There is a guest house on my property. A bed. A lock on the door. Heat that works, stay one night, leave in the morning, no one will bother you. Elena looks at the card. She looks at Mila. She looks at the $86 in her pocket. One night. He leaves. The paper bag stays. The soup container is empty. Elena folds the bread roll into a napkin and puts it in her pocket. For Mila. For the morning. The habit of saving things for later is so deep in her it does not require thought. She picks up Mila, the backpack, and Bean the rabbit, and walks out into the cold. The guest house is separate from the main building, set back behind a garden that Elena can barely see in the dark. But even in the dark, she can tell this place is bigger than anywhere she has ever lived. She enters and stops. Clean sheets. A real bed frame, not a mattress on the floor. Warm floors. The heat works. A small kitchen with a stocked refrigerator. Milk, bread, eggs, butter, and juice boxes. Apple juice in small cartons with cartoon animals on them. Someone put juice boxes in that refrigerator. Someone knew a child was coming. Someone prepared. Elena notices this. She files it away. She does not have the energy to be afraid of it right now. She lays Mila on the bed, pulls the clean white sheets over her daughter. Mila stirs once, grips Bean tighter, and sinks deeper into sleep. Elena does not sleep. She sits in the chair by the door with the backpack on her lap and her eyes on the lock. She waits for the knock that always comes in places that seem safe. She waits for the price. Morning comes. No knock, no price, no Roman. A woman named Dora knocks gently at 8:30. Mid-50s, calm face, no uniform. She introduces herself as the house manager. Breakfast is available in the main kitchen if Elena wants it. No pressure. She says the words no pressure the way someone says them who has been instructed to say them, but also the way someone says them who means them. Mila wakes up. She sees the room. Her eyes go wide. Not the way eyes go wide with fear. The way they go wide with wonder. She touches the clean white sheets with both hands. She pets them, like an animal, running her palms over the fabric slowly, feeling the softness. Mommy, these are so soft. Elena's chest cracks, not breaks, cracks. A fracture that will widen over the next 6 weeks until it becomes something she cannot repair. Elena keeps saying one more night. Each night, there is a reason. Day 2. Mila has a fever, not serious. The kind children get from cold nights and bad food and stress they cannot name. Dora brings children's medicine and a thermometer without being asked. She does not hover. She leaves the medicine on the kitchen counter with a small note written in neat handwriting. Dosage instructions. A phone number. Call me if it gets worse. Day 3. Elena borrows Dora's phone to call Mrs. Padilla. The old woman's voice is tight. Danny came back. Twice. He broke a window in the stairwell. The police filed a report. Nothing else. Mrs. Padilla says she is sorry and to be safe, and Elena thanks her and hangs up and sits on the edge of the bed and stares at the floor for 11 minutes. Day 4. Mila discovers the back garden. Stone pathways winding between hedges. A fountain in the center with fish. Real fish. Orange and white. They swim in lazy circles and rise to the surface when they see movement. Mila sits beside the fountain for 3 hours. She talks to the fish. She gives them names. She tells them about her day. She tells them about being the rabbit. She tells them about the sheets that are soft. Elena watches from the guest house window. She watches her daughter sit in a garden more beautiful than any place Elena has ever stood, talking to fish. And for the first time in months, maybe years, Mila is not flinching. She is not curling her body tight. She is not holding Bean like a shield. She is just sitting, open, laughing at a fish that blew a bubble. Day 5. Roman appears for the first time since the laundromat. He is sitting on a stone bench in the garden, reading, just reading. A book in his hands. He is wearing a dark sweater and no coat. He looks like a man in his own yard, which he is and nothing more. No guards nearby, no phone, just a man and a book and the sound of water from the fountain. Mila walks up to him. Elena watches from the window, her hands tighten on the sill. Mila stops in front of Roman and tilts her head the way 5-year-olds do when they are about to say something they consider very important. What are your fish names? Roman looks at her over the top of his book. He studies her face, the dark curly hair, the enormous brown eyes. They do not have names. Mila's face changes. Her mouth drops open. Her eyebrows pull together. She is personally offended. That is sad. They need names. I will name them for you. Roman closes his book. He sets it on the bench. He nods once, gravely, as if this child has just proposed something of tremendous importance that requires his full attention. All right. Mila leads him to the fountain. She points to each fish individually. This one is Bubble. This one is Captain Mustache because look at his mouth. This one is Sleepy Dave because he always sits at the bottom. This one is Princess, but she does not like being called that, so just call her P. Roman nods at each fish as if being introduced to foreign dignitaries. Elena watches from the window. She watches the most dangerous man she has never fully understood kneel beside a fountain and nod seriously at a fish named Captain Mustache, and she does not know what to feel. So she feels everything at once. Day 6. Elena tells Roman she needs to leave tomorrow. Roman says, of course. He does not argue. He does not sigh. He does not make the face that men make when they are about to explain why a woman's decision is wrong. He asks one question. Where will you go? Elena does not have an answer. Roman does not press. He says the guest house is there if she needs more time. No conditions, no strings. He says these words and then he walks away and does not look back. Elena stays. Day 7 becomes day 8. Day 8 becomes day 14. And somewhere in the space between a week and a month, one more night stops being the plan and starts being the life. 3 weeks in, it happens. Dinner. Dora has cooked pasta. Mila is in the chair that has become her chair, the one closest to the window so she can see the garden. She is talking about the fish. She always talks about the fish. Daddy, Sleepy Dave was hiding today. I think he is sick. Can fish get sick? The table goes silent. Dora freezes mid-pour. The serving spoon hovers above the bowl. No one moves. Mila does not notice. She keeps talking. She is telling a story about Sleepy Dave and Bubble, and whether fish have feelings, and she is using the word daddy as if it has always lived in her mouth, as if it was always there waiting and she finally found it. Elena looks at Roman. Roman is staring at his plate. His fork is suspended in the air halfway to his mouth. He does not correct Mila. He does not react at all. But Elena sees his jaw tighten. She sees him swallow, once, hard. She sees the fork tremble, just barely, before he sets it down gently against the plate. After dinner, Elena finds him in the hallway. Her voice is low and tight. She cannot call you that. Roman's voice is quiet. I did not ask her to. It does not matter. She is attaching. She is building something in her head that is not real. And when we leave, and we will leave, it will destroy her. What is not real about it? You are not her father, Roman. Silence. Roman looks down the hallway toward the kitchen. Mila is standing on a step stool helping Dora wash dishes. She has soap suds on her nose. She is laughing. The sound travels down the hallway and reaches them both. No, I am not. His voice is steady. Something underneath it is not. But I am here, which is more than anyone else has given her. The sentence lands like a blade between Elena's ribs. Not because it is cruel, because it is the truest thing anyone has said to her in years. And truth, when it is aimed at the softest place, hurts more than any lie. Elena begins to notice things, small things, the kind that mean nothing alone. Together they form a shape she recognizes. She has lived inside that shape before. It was called Danny's apartment. The guards at the gate know her name. They are polite. But they radio ahead whenever she walks toward the driveway. The driver Roman offers her is always available. Always. Any time. Any destination. But he reports where she goes. Elena tests this by telling the driver she is visiting a thrift store on Division Street and then mentioning it to no one. That evening at dinner, Roman asks casually if she found anything good at the thrift store. He does not realize he has told on himself. Or maybe he does. Her phone gets perfect reception everywhere on the property. Everywhere except the east wing where Roman's office is. There it drops to nothing. One morning she walks to the gate on foot. It opens. She walks 2 blocks down the sidewalk. The air is cold and clean and free. Then she sees a black car appear on the street behind her, keeping distance. Patient. She turns around. The car disappears. She walks back through the gate and the guards smile. Each observation alone can be explained. Each one has a reasonable answer. Security. Habit. Concern. Protection. Together, they are a perimeter. Then Elena finds the room. It is late, past midnight. She is looking for a bathroom on the 2nd floor of the main house because the pipe in the guest house is making a sound. She opens the wrong door. Inside is a child's bedroom. Pink walls, a white canopy bed, a shelf of picture books, a music box on the nightstand with a hand-painted ballerina on the lid, delicate, one arm raised. Everything is pristine, untouched. No dust, which means someone cleans this room regularly. But the books are 8 years old, titles from another era. The curtains are a style that no longer exists in stores. The music box is wound down. Silent. On the dresser is a framed photograph. A girl, 3 or 4 years old. Dark curly hair, enormous brown eyes, laughing on a swing, mouth open, arms stretched wide. She looks like she is trying to catch the sky. She looks like Mila. Not exactly, but enough. Enough to make Elena's stomach drop through the floor. Elena backs out of the room. She pulls the door shut. She stands in the hallway for a very long time. Her hand is still on the doorknob. Her thumb is pressing into her index finger. Hard. The old habit. She does not ask Roman about the room, not yet. But everything she sees from this moment forward, every gentle word he speaks to Mila, every time he kneels beside the fountain and nods at Captain Mustache, every time his voice goes soft in a way that does not match what she knows about him, is filtered through that photograph. Through that pink room. Through those books that are 8 years too old. Victor Halsey finds Elena by the fountain 3 days later. The sun is setting. Mila is in bed. Goliath the garden cat is asleep on the warm stone. The fish are making their slow circles. Victor is Roman's second in command, late 50s. Former military. Missing the tip of his ring finger from something he never explains and no one asks about. He has a face that gives nothing away and a voice that sounds like gravel being poured into a metal bucket. He does not speak often. When he does, people listen because Victor does not waste words on things that do not matter. He sits beside Elena on the stone bench without asking permission. You found Lily's room. Elena says nothing. Victor nods as if her silence confirmed it. He tells her, not gently, not harshly, just factually, the way a man tells you about a wound that is healed but left a scar he touches every morning. Lily Castellan, born March 12th. Dark curly hair, brown eyes. Diagnosed with leukemia at 3. The aggressive kind, the kind that does not negotiate. 14 months of hospitals and needles and machines, and a child who kept asking when she could go to the park. 14 months of Roman sitting beside a hospital bed, reading picture books to a little girl whose body was disappearing from the inside. 14 months of a man who controlled half the city, learning that there is one enemy no amount of money, violence, or power can defeat. Lily died 14 months after the diagnosis. She was 4 years old. Roman's wife, Nadine, left within the year, not because she blamed Roman, because the house still smelled like Lily's shampoo. The strawberry kind. The kind that gets into everything, into pillows, into towels, into the air itself. Nadine could not breathe inside a house that smelled like her dead daughter. Roman kept the room. He changed nothing for 8 years. The book stayed on the shelf, the bed stayed made, the music box stayed on the nightstand. Victor pauses. He looks at the fountain. The fish are rising to the surface, expecting food. He does not talk about her, not to me, not to anyone, not once in 8 years. But I see him go into that room some nights. He sits on the bed, he winds the music box. He sits there and listens to the whole melody. When it stops, he leaves. He closes the door, and the next morning he is the man the world sees. Cold, controlled, Roman Castellan. And nobody knows that 12 hours earlier he was sitting on a 4-year-old's bed listening to a music box play a song his daughter used to fall asleep to. Elena stares at the water. Why are you telling me this? Victor looks at her. His grey eyes hold something she cannot name. Because you think he is keeping you here for control. And I need you to understand that it is worse than that. He is keeping you here because your daughter made him feel something he thought was dead. He saw Mila laugh, and the sound hit a frequency in his chest that has been silent for 8 years. And a man like Roman, when he feels something, he will burn the world to protect it. That is not a metaphor, Elena. That is a warning. And it is also, if I am being honest, the most human thing he has done since Lily died. Victor stands. He brushes off his pants. He walks away without looking back. Elena sits by the fountain until the sun is gone and the garden is dark, and the only light is the warm yellow glow from the main house windows. And she presses her thumbnail into her finger and thinks about a pink room and a music box and a man who kneels beside a fountain and pretends to listen to a 5-year-old name fish because the sound of her voice fills a silence he has been drowning in for 8 years. Elena confronts Roman 3 days later, in his office. She does not knock. She walks in and stands across from his desk and says one sentence. Tell me about the park. Roman's hand stops on the page he is reading. He does not look up, not immediately. He takes 2 full seconds, which is a long time for a man who controls every room he enters. Then he looks at her. Victor talks too much. Victor told me about Lily. The park is mine. She waits. Roman sets the paper down, he tells her. Not everything, but more than he has told anyone. He saw Mila 3 weeks before the laundromat. A park on the south side. Tuesday afternoon. He was in a car passing through. He was not looking for anything. He was not looking at all. And then through the window he saw a child feeding pigeons. Dark, curly hair. Brown eyes, 5 years old. She was laughing at a pigeon that kept stealing bread from another pigeon, laughing with her whole body, the way children laugh before the world teaches them to be quieter. The laugh stopped him, not metaphorically. He told the driver to pull over. He sat in the car for 4 full minutes watching a stranger's child feed pigeons, because the sound of that laugh was so close to something he had lost that his body could not move. He does not admit to engineering the rescue, not with those words. But he says this, I knew who you were before that night. I had someone look into you. I knew about Danny. I knew about the restraining order that was not being enforced. I knew your landlord was about to file eviction. I knew you were running out of time, and you just happened to be at that laundromat at 2 a.m. Long pause, long enough for Elena to hear the fountain through the window, the fish making their circles. I was in the area. That is not an answer. No, it is not. He does not lie. He does not confess. He leaves the space open. And that ambiguity is more terrifying than a confession, because Elena cannot tell where the calculation ends and the genuine feeling begins. And looking at Roman's face, she is not sure he can either. Elena stands there for a long moment. She is making a decision she does not have all the information for. She has never had all the information. She has spent her entire life making decisions in the dark with incomplete maps and bad odds. She says one thing before she leaves. If I ever find out that you sent Danny to my door that night, that you arranged it, that you pushed the domino that put my daughter on those plastic chairs, I will take Mila, and I will disappear in a way that not even you can find. And you will sit in that pink room every night for the rest of your life with 2 music boxes and no one to listen to either one. Roman looks at her. His eyes change. Something moves behind them, not anger, something closer to respect. The kind of respect a man gives to someone who has just shown him the exact weapon that could destroy him and held it steady. Understood, he says. Elena leaves. She closes the door. She does not leave the estate, not that day, not the next, but the terms have changed. The invisible contract between them has been rewritten in a language they both understand. Danny Moran does not disappear the way bad men are supposed to disappear in stories. He does not fade. He gets louder. Danny is 31 years old. He is not a mastermind. He is not a criminal genius. He is a small man with large fists and a mouth that runs when he drinks, which is every day. He cannot stand that Elena left. Not because he loves her, because she was his. The way a man who owns nothing holds tight to the one thing he can break. Danny has been talking, at bars, to anyone who will listen. He has been telling people that his girlfriend was taken by some rich man on the north side. A man with guards. A man with a gate. The wrong person listens. Sal Marchetti, a rival of Roman's. Older, patient. The kind of man who does not fight directly but looks for cracks and pushes things into them. Danny is a crowbar. Marchetti sees it immediately. Marchetti does not want Elena. He does not want Mila. He wants an opening. A pressure point. A way to make Roman Castellan feel something other than control. 3 weeks after Elena confronts Roman about the park, she takes Mila to the public library. It is her first solo outing with the driver. She wants normal. She wants Mila to have books and other children and a world that is not made of stone walls and fountains and guarded gates. Mila is in the children's section. She is on the floor cross-legged, a book about ocean animals open in her lap. She is tracing the picture of a whale with her finger. She is telling Bean the rabbit about the whale. Bean is propped on her knee, facing the page, as if he is reading along. Elena sits in the chair nearby. For the first time in weeks, her shoulders are not tight. The library smells like paper and carpet and quiet. Normal things. Safe things. A man sits down in the chair next to hers. He does not look at her. He opens a magazine. He speaks quietly. His voice is flat. Professional. Like a man reading a train schedule. Danny says hello. He says he misses his little girl. Elena's blood turns to glass. She can feel it in her veins. Sharp and brittle. Mr. Marchetti wants you to know that gates and guards do not mean much when the target walks out on her own. The man stands. He sets the magazine down. He walks past the driver, who is standing by the door, scrolling his phone, noticing nothing. The threat was invisible. Just a man in a library. Elena grabs Mila. Mila drops the ocean book. It hits the carpet face down, the whale page creasing. Mila starts to cry. Not because she is scared. Because she wanted that book. She wanted the whale. Elena carries her to the car. Mila sobs the entire ride home, clutching Bean, asking why they had to leave, why she could not have the book, why does everything always stop? And Elena holds her and says nothing, because there are no words for this. There are no words for the fact that a 5-year-old cannot read a book about whales because a man she has never met wants to use her like a chess piece. Back at the estate, Elena tells Roman, word for word, every syllable the man said, the magazine, the driver who saw nothing. Roman listens. He does not interrupt. His face does not change. When she finishes, he asks one question. Did he touch Mila? No. Did he touch you? No. Roman nods. He picks up his phone. He makes one call, 4 words. A language Elena does not understand. He hangs up. Then he stands. He walks to the hallway. He turns left, not toward his office, but toward the east wing. He opens a door Elena has never seen him open. Inside is a small room lined with bookshelves. A children's library, built recently. Elena can smell the fresh paint. The new wood. The books are organized by age and color. Picture books on the bottom shelves. Chapter books higher up. A reading corner with cushions on the floor. This room did not exist 6 weeks ago. Roman built it sometime in the last month. He built a library inside his house for a child who is not his daughter. He walks to the shelf and pulls out a book. Brand new, hardcover, a book about ocean animals. A different copy than the one in the public library, but the same kind, whales on the cover. He brings it to Mila, who is still crying in the living room. I heard you wanted this one. Mila takes the book. She stops crying, not slowly, instantly. The way children stop when the thing they lost is returned to them. She opens it. She finds the whale page. She is fine. Elena watches Roman kneel on the floor beside her daughter and point at a picture of a blue whale. And Mila says, did you know blue whales are the biggest animal that ever lived? Even bigger than dinosaurs. And Roman says he did not know that, and Mila says, well, now you do. And she keeps reading. Elena feels two things at the same time that should not be able to exist in the same body. Terror at what Roman is. Gratitude that he exists. That night, Elena lies in bed in the guest house staring at the ceiling. Mila is asleep beside her. Bean is between them. The ocean book is on the nightstand. For the first time, the thought forms clearly. Not as a whisper. Not as a maybe. As a sentence. Maybe the cage is not the estate. Maybe the cage was the life before it. She reaches for her hand, the old habit. Thumbnail pressing into the finger. She starts the motion. Then she stops. She does not need it tonight. And now we are back where we began. 6:47 in the morning. The gate is open. Elena is standing at the threshold. Mila is in her arms. Bean in Mila's fist. The backpack on one shoulder. $86. 2 changes of clothes. The same bag she packed the night she left the apartment. She has never unpacked it. It has been sitting in the closet of the guest house for 6 weeks, ready. A promise to herself that she could still leave. She stands at the gate. The guards do not move. And Mila says, Daddy. And Elena stands there for 47 seconds. And she turns around. She walks back inside. She climbs the stairs. She does not go to the guest house. She walks to the main house. She walks down the hallway. She opens the door to Roman's office without knocking. Roman is sitting at his desk. It is 5 in the morning. He has been there since 4. There is a coffee mug in his hand. He does not look surprised. He saw her on the cameras. He has been sitting in this chair watching the monitors since she walked out the front door with that backpack. And he did not call the guards, did not call Victor, did not move. He sat there and watched and drank his coffee and waited to see what she would choose. Elena sits in the chair across from him. The backpack is still on her shoulder. You knew I was leaving. Yes, you did not stop me. No. Why? Roman sets the coffee down. He looks at her, and the mask drops. Not the crime boss mask, the other one. The one he wears to pretend the room on the 2nd floor does not destroy him. The one he wears to pretend he is whole. That mask. The one no one has seen behind. Because if you stayed, it had to be your choice. Not my security. Not Danny. Not Mila. Yours. Or it means nothing. And if I had walked through that gate, silence. Long. The kind of silence that has weight, that presses against the walls of the room. Then I would have let you go, and I would have gone upstairs and sat in Lily's room and wound the music box. And that would have been the end of it. Elena stares at him. You would have lost us. I've lost a daughter before, Elena. I survived it. I would not survive trapping you here and watching Mila learn to hate me for it. I would not survive seeing her flinch when I enter a room the way she used to flinch when Danny's name was mentioned. That would be worse than the empty room. That would be worse than anything. The room is quiet. The sun is beginning to come through the window. The light touches the edge of the desk, the coffee mug, Roman's hand. His hand is trembling. The mug is shaking with it. He does not try to hide it. He does not move his hand under the desk or wrap it tighter or do any of the things Elena has watched powerful men do when their bodies betray them. He lets her see it. He lets her see him shake. And that is the thing that breaks it open. Not the estate, not the money, not the protection, not the library he built, or the fish her daughter named, or the ocean book he bought to replace the one she lost. This, a man shaking, and letting her see. Because in Elena's entire life, no one has ever let her see them shake. Danny hit her with steady hands. The foster parents spoke with steady voices. The social workers smiled with steady faces. Everyone who ever had power over her held it with a grip so tight that the shaking stayed inside, hidden, and the surface was always smooth and always lying. Roman is not lying. Roman is sitting in his chair at 5 in the morning with coffee trembling in his hand, and he is not hiding it. Elena takes the backpack off her shoulder. She sets it on the floor, not against the wall, not in the corner, on the floor between them, in the middle of the room where it will be in the way. I am staying. But not because of the gate, not because of Danny, not because of what you give Mila. Then why? Because just now you were shaking, and you let me see it. And in my whole life, nobody has ever let me see them shake. Roman looks at his hand. The tremor is still there. He closes his fist around the mug. Elena reaches across the desk. She opens his fingers, gently, one at a time. She wraps her hand around his. The mug is between them. The coffee is cold. The trembling stops. Neither of them speaks. The sun comes up. The light fills the office. Somewhere outside, the fountain runs. The fish make their circles. And in the guest house down the path, Mila sleeps with Bean under her chin and the ocean book on the nightstand, dreaming about whales. The next 3 months move like weather. Some days warm, some days cold, all of them changing something. Danny is not killed. Elena asks Roman not to, and Roman does not. Instead, Roman's legal team surfaces everything. The parole violations, the restraining order breaches, the connection to Marchetti. Federal agents arrest Danny at a motel in Gary, Indiana. He is sentenced to 12 years. He does not fight it. He has nothing to fight with. Elena watches the news on the kitchen television. Mila is in the garden talking to the fish. Dora is making lunch. The reporter says Danny's name, and Elena feels something she did not expect. Not triumph, not relief. Tiredness, the good kind. The kind that comes after carrying something heavy for a very long time and finally being allowed to set it down. Her shoulders drop almost an inch. She did not realize she had been holding them that high. Marchetti is handled. Elena does not know how. Victor tells her one morning over coffee. That situation has been resolved. Elena does not ask for details. She is learning to live in the space between what she knows and what she does not need to know. It is not a comfortable space, but it is survivable. And surviving is something Elena has always been very good at. She sets one boundary. Her voice is clear and absolute. Mila never sees that part. Not a whisper, not a shadow, not a phone call she overhears, not a face she does not recognize, nothing. Roman looks at her. She will not. That is a promise Elena believes. Not because Roman is good. Because Roman would die before letting Mila see what he is. The same way he would die before letting Lily's room get dusty. Some things are sacred, even to men who have burned everything else. Then the rabbit falls apart. It happens on a Tuesday morning. Mila is running through the garden. Bean is under her arm the way Bean is always under her arm. One ear missing, the stitching loose at the neck. Mila trips on a stone. She catches herself, but Bean flies from her hands and hits the ground. And the neck stitching. The stitching Elena has repaired 4 times with whatever thread she could find gives out. Bean splits. The head separates from the body. Stuffing spills onto the stone path like white snow. Mila screams. Not the scream of a child who is hurt. The scream of a child who has just watched the one thing that has been constant in her entire life break into pieces. She drops to her knees and picks up both parts and holds them together as if she can will them back into one. Her hands are shaking. Tears running. Bean! Mommy! Bean is broken. Elena is there in seconds. She kneels beside Mila. Her hands reach out. The old instinct. Fix it, patch it, find thread, sew it together. Make it last one more day. She has been doing this for years. Holding things together with her hands because her hands are all she has ever had. Roman kneels beside them. He does not say anything at first. He just kneels there on the stone path in his expensive pants and looks at the broken rabbit and the crying child. Then he reaches out gently. He takes both pieces from Mila's hands. She lets him. She would not have let anyone else, but she lets him. I know someone who can fix this, but she will need Bean for a few days. Can you be brave? Mila's face is swollen and wet. She hiccups. She looks at the 2 pieces in Roman's hands. She looks at his face. You promise he will come back? I promise. Mila nods. She wipes her nose with the back of her hand. She sniffs twice. Then she goes inside with Dora. Elena looks at Roman. He is holding a torn, stuffed rabbit in both hands, the way someone holds something priceless. 3 days later, Bean comes back. Not patched, not taped, not held together with whatever thread could be found, fully restored. New stuffing. The missing ear reattached. The stitching perfect, tight, professional. The neck is solid. The body is whole. But the fabric, the original fabric, every piece of it, is still there. Not 1 square centimeter has been replaced. The worn spots are still worn. The faded patches are still faded. The small stain on Bean's belly from the time Mila spilled juice at the old apartment, still there. Someone did not replace the rabbit. Someone healed it. Someone understood that the old fabric was the point. That the worn spots were where Mila's hands had been. That the faded patches were every night Elena held her daughter and told her it would be okay. That the juice stain was a Tuesday afternoon in a bad apartment that was still their home. Mila grabs Bean and hugs him so hard that Elena worries for a moment the stitching will give again. But it holds. It holds. Elena finds Roman in his office that evening. You could have bought her a new one, 100 new ones. Roman does not look up from his desk. That rabbit is every night you held her in that apartment and told her it would be okay. I was not going to replace that. I just wanted to make sure it held together. Elena stands in the doorway. She does not speak. She turns. She walks down the hallway. She climbs the stairs to the 2nd floor. She walks to Lily's room. She opens the door. She has not been inside since the first night. The room is exactly the same. Pink walls, white canopy bed, picture books on the shelf, the music box on the nightstand. Elena walks to the nightstand. She picks up the music box, the painted ballerina, the delicate hand. She winds it. Slowly. The spring tightens under her fingers. She sets it down. The melody plays. Small, bright. A lullaby she does not recognize but whose shape she understands because all lullabies have the same shape. The shape of a parent saying, I am here and you are safe. She sits on the small bed. She listens to the entire melody, every note. She does not leave before it finishes. When the music box stops, she stands. She walks back to Roman's office. He is still at his desk. She stands in the doorway. The music box was out of tune. I wound it. I hope that is okay. Roman looks up. He stares at her for a long time. Longer than he has ever looked at anything in her presence without speaking. His eyes fill. He does not cry. His eyes fill. The liquid sits there at the edges, catching the light from the desk lamp, and he does not blink it away, and he does not look down. He nods. Once. Small. That nod is everything. It is permission. It is 8 years of grief given somewhere to go. It is the door to Lily's room being opened by someone other than him for the first time. It is the beginning of that room becoming a memory instead of a shrine. A place that was loved instead of a place that is mourned. It is the end of the music box playing to an empty room. 1 year later, autumn arrives in Chicago with yellow leaves and cold mornings and the smell of something burning somewhere that is not unpleasant. The city turns gold at the edges. Elena runs a flower shop on Claremont Street. Small, 8 tables of arrangements, exposed brick walls and a wooden counter and the smell of earth and green things and water. The shop is called Bloom. Elena chose the name. She chose everything about it. Roman funded it, but every decision from the color of the walls to the type of ribbon she uses to wrap bouquets is hers. She chose flowers because in every apartment she ever lived in, every bad apartment with broken heat and mold on the walls and doors that did not lock properly, she kept one plant on the windowsill. Every single one. Even the worst places. Because Elena believed that something alive should exist in every room. Even rooms that feel like dying. Mila's drawings hang behind the register. A new one every week. The newest one is taped to the wall at Mila's eye level. 3 people holding hands. A big house behind them. A fountain with orange shapes that are fish. A sun above. Below, in the uneven handwriting of a 6-year-old, 2 words. My family. Roman picks Mila up from school every Thursday. It is their tradition. He stands at the school gate in his dark coat while other parents stare and whisper and step slightly to the side. He does not notice them. Or perhaps he notices everything and simply does not care. Mila runs out of the school building with her backpack bouncing and grabs his hand. She talks the entire walk to the car. About everything, her teacher, a boy who put glue in someone's hair, a book about dolphins she is reading, a question about whether fish in a fountain are lonely or happy. She asks this question seriously. Roman listens to every word, as if she is briefing him on the most critical intelligence he will receive all week. He answers each question with full attention. He does not check his phone. He does not scan the street. For 30 minutes every Thursday, Roman Castellan is not the man the police have been hunting for 2 decades. He is a father walking his daughter to the car, and the rest of the world does not exist. Evening. The estate garden. Late October. The air smells like cold leaves and the last of the summer flowers dying gracefully. Mila is chasing fireflies with a glass jar. Bean is tucked under one arm because she still takes him everywhere. She is almost 6 now, taller, sturdier. Her dark curly hair is longer and tied into a ponytail that bounces when she runs. She catches a firefly, holds the jar up to her face. The light blinks inside the glass, yellow and green. She opens the jar and lets it go. She watches it float away into the garden. She laughs. Elena and Roman sit on the porch, not touching, close enough. Coffee in Elena's hands, nothing in Roman's. He is just sitting, watching. The lines on his face are softer than they were a year ago. Not gone. Softer, as if something has been smoothing them from the inside. She does not remember the apartment. Roman is quiet for a moment. Good. She does not remember being hungry. Good, she only knows this. Roman does not answer that one right away. He watches Mila catch another firefly, cup it in her hands, peek through her fingers at the light, open her hands, watch it fly. She knows something more important than this. She knows you. She knows you packed a bag with $86 and walked into the cold for her. She knows you sat on a laundromat floor and did not give up. She does not remember it, but it is in her. It is the reason she is brave. It is the reason she talks to fish and gives them names. It is the reason she is not afraid of anything. That did not come from this house, Elena. That came from you. Elena does not respond, not with words. She reaches over. She takes his hand. The garden is dark now except for the porch light and the fireflies and the warm glow from the windows of the house behind them. Mila runs in circles, Bean bouncing under her arm, laughing at a firefly that keeps landing on her nose. Clothes on, Bean the rabbit, held together. Old fabric. New stitching. The juice stain on the belly. The reattached ear. Every worn spot a history. Every faded patch a night survived. Surviving. Held together. Whole. He is not a good man. I know that. The world knows that. There are rooms in this house I do not enter, and phone calls I do not ask about, and men who come and go through a side door I pretend does not exist. Some nights I hear the front gate open at 3 a.m. and close an hour later, and I do not look out the window. I have learned to live in the space between what I know and what I do not need to know. It is not a comfortable space, but it is mine, and that matters more than comfort. My daughter sleeps through the night. She has a garden and fish with names and a father who listens to every word she says like it matters more than anything in the world. She has a rabbit that was broken and is whole again. She has a mother who comes home before dark and smells like flowers instead of bleach. And I have someone who saw me on the worst night of my life, sitting on a laundromat floor with $86 and a thumbnail pressed into my skin, and did not look away. Maybe that is not love the way the world teaches it. Maybe it is something rougher and stranger, and harder to put a name on. Maybe it is 2 broken people sitting on a porch watching a child chase fireflies, and both of them knowing that neither of them deserves this, and choosing to have it anyway. He shakes sometimes, late at night, when he thinks no one can see. His hands tremble and he holds them in his lap and waits for it to pass. But he does not hide it from me. Not anymore. He lets me see it. He lets me sit beside him and put my hand over his and wait until the trembling stops. And in my whole life, nobody has ever let me see them shake. Maybe that is not a fairy tale. Maybe fairy tales are for people whose lives are simple enough to fit inside one. Mine is not simple. Mine is messy and gray and built on a foundation I cannot look at too closely. But my daughter drew a picture of her family and put a sun above the house. And that is enough. That is enough. If this story touched your heart, if your eyes welled up at any moment, if it made you think of someone in your life who saw you when the world walked past, or if you are the person who needs to hear that it is okay to stay in the place that finally feels safe. Even if the world does not understand it, then please tap like so this story can reach more people. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. A tired mother, a person going through something they cannot explain, someone who is standing at a gate right now, trying to decide. And if you want to hear more stories like this one, where every story is a life and every life is a lesson, subscribe to our channel so you do not miss any videos. Tell me in the comments. Have you ever found safety in a place the world told you was dangerous? Have you ever stayed when everyone said you should leave? Or have you ever let someone see you shake? Your story deserves to be heard. And sometimes the comment you write at 3 a.m. is exactly what saves someone else who is reading it and thinking no one understands. Thank you for staying until the end. We wish you good health, peaceful days, and a life where someone notices when you are hungry without you having to say it. And remember, keep planting flowers on windowsills. Keep repairing the things that matter with whatever thread you can find, because beauty deserves to exist everywhere, even in places that seem to have no room left for it. Goodbye, and we will see you in the next video.